Hi guys and welcome to the trading show. This week we are gonna talk about
markets. Gold is at an all-time high. Our portfolio, Nasdaq flies. Tip of the week, bias on crude oil. And the weekly rollover.
And if you are interested in systematic trading, then subscribe to our channel. I am Francesco Placci, Head of R&D at Unger Academy. Let's start from the market overview to see together what happened during the week. Well, where do we start for our weekly analysis? Certainly from metals, because they are all in strong bullish trend. In particular, we see gold on all-time highs, but even stronger is silver, which literally exploded upwards, making outstanding returns, 19% in the last week, 50% in the last month and 80% in the last 3 months. And all the metal sector is in a strong uptrend. Certainly impressive is the trend of natural gas in the last 5 days with a 22% return, as you can see from the chart. And more generally, the entire energy sector shows positive return during the last week. Also, Bitcoin future shows positive returns. It has only risen by 2.6% during this week, but over the last month it has risen over 26%. And it seems to have come out of its lateral phase. Instead, among the weakest sectors there are cereals. We see negative returns except for bean oil, while the upward move of stock indexes continues, which, in spite of the coronavirus and the distance that exists between the real and financial economy, reaches new historical highs. 3% return for Nasdaq and 2% return for the mini S&P during the last week. Talking about volatility, we see generally low values, and in particular as regards the mini S&P, we note values comparable to those prior to the March crash. Obviously, the situation is quite different for silver, which due to the strong bullish movement shows a significant increase in volatility. However, volatility remains high if measured over a longer time frame, such as the annual one. Let's also take a look at the volatility indexes, and we can see how the term structure is almost in contango. We are therefore witnessing a sort of normalization of the term structure. In fact, we know that for about 80% of the time it is in contango, particularly during bullish market phases like the current one. But anyway, we note a gap between the short-term and long-term volatility, and this is mainly due to the uncertainty about the outcome of the American elections, which keeps the medium and long-term volatility at particularly high values. After seeing some key statistics on financial markets, and given the fact that automated traders also use this data to build their trading strategies, as usual, we will now take a look at our portfolio of trading strategies to see how systems have reacted to current market conditions.
Hello everyone, from Alessandro Danos. This week we will see how our systems have behaved, and in particular we will analyze the 3 systems on American stock indices, futures. And in particular, we will analyze the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones Industrial Futures. For the Nasdaq, I show you this system, which more attentive will recognize, as shown in the last episode of the trading show. Is a reversal which enters with limit orders on the high and low of the previous day. we had underlined how the Nasdaq showed a purely reversal nature, with highs and lows that will be managed in correspondence with the highs and lows of the previous day, which we remember is our entry trigger. We note how the short opened on Friday, also managed to obtain a take profit, thus following up on the good things that the underlying logic of the system is showing over the months. And we note how the average trade of the system is also very respectable. I would like to point out that unlike what we might expect, the system's percent profitable is around 40%, which may seem little, especially since we are talking about a reversal. But in reality, obtaining an average win-average loss ratio of 1.72, we see that the system managed to bring home the beauty of $20,000 in the last year of trading. Well, let's now move on the next system, which is in some way similar to the system I just showed you, and it is also a reversal on the Nasdaq. The most attentive will remember that also regarding this system we had already shown the results, emphasizing the fact that the strategy was showing a lateral trend and now was showing signs of recovery. And in fact, in the last week, thanks to some good trades, the strategy managed to reach new peaks in equity, managing to fully recover the losses accumulated during the drawdown phase. In the previous video, we had underlined how the strategy was showing signs of recovery, and in fact, we can see that the system managed to achieve new equity peaks. Okay, now let's move on to the last strategy, developed on the Dow Jones futures. It is a very simple strategy, a bias one, which has managed to make this nice trade long, closed last night, in the last week. The strategy enters long on Tuesday and closes the position on Thursday, at the end of the session. The short, on the other hand, will be open shortly, so on Friday it's now 10 to 11, and at 11 o'clock, so in about 10 minutes, the strategy will attempt the short entry. We see from the report how this simple system is giving excellent results, especially in the last year, where the system has gained the beauty of $94,000. The equity line is also very respectable and continues to record new equity highs. The data refers to the returns obtained using two contracts, because we use it in live with these settings. But in any case, even dividing the results by a single contract, we can be more than satisfied with the results that this simple strategy has been able to obtain. So guys, keep it simple, or try to keep your system as simple as you can, because no doubt in trading simplicity pays off.
Hi everyone, hello from Andrea Unger, and today I will show you a very interesting and well-known bias, and in particular we are talking about the intraday bias on crude oil. Here we can see they are represented the average movement of each 60-minute bar into the regular trading session. That goes from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. of the next day. And here we can see that there is a very interesting series of consecutive down closes, so bearish closes from the opening time of the session, and from 12, so from midday, there is another interesting series of rising bars on average. So what we can do is to try to understand if there is a bias into the trading session and to discover if it's possible to exploit this kind of characteristics of the crude oil. So in particular here on my indicator I can plot the cumulate sum of the average movement of each 60 minute bars, and as you can see here our idea seems to be confirmed. In fact, there is usually downtrend movement that lasts from the opening time of the session at 6 p.m. and this movement ends at about midday, and then after midday it starts again rising the price until the closing time of the session. Then what I did is to code a very simple strategy to backtest this idea and to discover if it's profitable or not. And then here we can see that the idea seems to be profitable, but unfortunately most of the profits were made in 28 and 29 as years. But it's also interesting that in the last year the bias seems to be positive and seems to make profits, quite good profits again. And the same things can be analyzed from the annual period analysis, where you can see that most of the profits were made across 28 and 29, but at the same time the last year is a positive year.
Okay, let's take a look at the rollover calendar. We can see that for lean hogs, soybean oil, soybeans and soybean meal, the settlement date is on August 14th, but for liquidity reason all these futures are active on the following expiration, which is October for lean hogs, December for soybean oil and soybean meal, and November for soybeans. Finally, on August 19th, there is the settlement date for the VIX future and the following day for the crude oil future. So, within a short time, these contracts too must be rolled. Well guys, so if you want to learn how to build trading systems like Andrea Unger, the only 4-time trading world champion with real money, go ahead and click on the link below. You will be able to pick a date and a time for a 45-minute call totally free with one of our tutors. We will talk about your current situation, what you are doing in trading and what you would like to do instead. And we will try to understand together if we can help you achieve your trading goals. Finally, if you like this video, press like and then subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. See you next week with another episode of the Trading Show.